Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America. Thank you for being with us on the program today. Website, thisweekinamerica.us. Back with us on the program, Irene Chain-Kalinowski. She was born in South Yorkshire, England. She's been a practicing midwife for over 30 years, has worked in both hospital and community settings. She is protective of women's rights, which promote the principles of partnership, protection, and participation. She's worked in both hospital and community settings and been exposed to multicultural environments. She's a registered nurse and midwife, practices in a holistic midwifery healthcare setting that creates healthy mothers where medical intervention and referrals are rarely required. Women are empowered to take charge of their health, and birthing experiences are celebrated. We've talked about that with her on past programs. She's with us today because she is also a successful author. 9 books so far, and more on the way. Irene, welcome back to the program. You've been busy since we talked to you the last time. Welcome back to the show. Great to have you with us.
It's great to be back. I think it's about a year since we actually last spoke, and so many things have happened in the last year. You know, it's been like a wonderful experience, but I've also had a rocky road through the publishing system. So hopefully we can support authors while we go along through our conversation today.
Well, there are so many out there that really want to write fiction, nonfiction, and then they see all these opportunities, people in self-publishing, they make it sound very easy, very inexpensive to do this. And then you talk to them later, they're out thousands and thousands of dollars. You had written a number of books. We talked about several on the program before, and you've gone from childbirth to author. I'm going to put childbirth/author because you're still doing childbirth.
Absolutely.
Talk about that experience when you decided, I'm writing these books, I'm paying these people to get the word out on these books, but I'm really sort of stuck in neutral. I'm not going where I want to go. You did some research and found out that there are a lot of things that you can do yourself to monitor the process and make sure it's successful. Talk about some of the experiences, because you really learned, I'm going to say, the hard way in some cases.
I learned the hard way, and I was one of those authors that was very much out of pocket too. I think one of the biggest things, if you're writing a book, if you're editing, it's quite serious. It does cost money. It costs money for editing. You can pay, and you're talking about $3,000 for really good editing, but when you think how long it takes to read a book, and, I've done part of editing myself, so, it takes a good 5 reads of a book or 6 reads to get it perfect. And what I found with the first publishing companies, where they had people that were not really skilled with the genre, or English was kind of their second language, and they hadn't done any papers or anything to do it. So I found that my books kept being sent back. They were sent back 5, 6, 7 times, and they were charging me more for editing it. And I said, hang on a minute, I'm paying you to edit my book. I'm paying for professional expertise here. Why am I re-editing my own book?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so I got my lawyers onto the first company, and then the second one, I thought, I was told they'd seen my book at the London Book Fair, and they could see I was a good author, and they were going to help me. And I went with this company to find out it was another shambles, actually a big shambles. And, I've got lawyers again, so I don't want any author to go through that, because, it's heartbreaking to see how hard you work. And, to get a book out there, to reach the people, to have something, a lot of authors, there's 8 million authors on Amazon, for example. And I remember getting my royalty check, and it was $26. Well, I went to the bank here in New Zealand, and they were charging me $33 to bank it.
Wow.
So I says, well, if there's 8 million books on Amazon and a few million authors, and people are just framing their checks on their walls, then somebody's getting rich, and it's not the authors.
That's exactly the case. And the books, Irene's books, are available at a publishing company. It's called Word First Publishing. The website is wordfp.com. Information there on all of the books. And this is the company that you're working with. You're very proud of working with the company. They've done an excellent job. And I would think, in particular, in your case, what you've done, really important books, and we've talked about several of those that you've done that have been insight into what you do, how you literally are changing the lives of women and families. And to see you pour everything into those books and not to be properly marketed, handled, edited, that had to be very frustrating for you, because you got a very important message to get out there. You didn't do this for money. You put the message out there to try to help people.
Well, I think, I go to the Author Society here, and when you speak to a lot of authors, authors that want to get the message out there, they usually start off, it's not about the money, it's about making a difference. A lot of people have full-time jobs. I have a full-time job as a midwife, so me getting the word out there was a bonus. I have a dream of maybe helping with a birthing unit someday. But, to see your book squashed, put in the wrong areas, to see, something you've done so beautiful destroyed, basically.
Yes.
It's devastating. And I see authors out there. I've been to book shows. I've been to Miami. I went to Miami and I saw a really old guy, and he traveled all the way from Wyoming to Miami, and they charged him $5,000 to sign books at a non-for-profit event, and he'd driven the whole way, and I saw that guy for 3 days, and it wasn't even an event for him. It was a Spanish event. They were not speaking English, and the guy was absolutely exhausted. And then, of course, the fact I was told I was sponsored, and then I got a whacking bill for $10,000. So, I've got lawyers working on this, and I don't want to see authors do that. And I saw the way they put the books out there. They put them on the back shelf so people don't see them. People are paying for books to be exhibited, and nobody's seen them, or nobody discussing them, or talking to people about them. It's absolutely frustrating, and it is thousands and thousands of dollars. I've spent thousands, and I really learnt the hard way, And then it's not so much that, because I use my retirement money to try and make a difference. So you can imagine these people in their 70s and 80s, and these are people they prey on. They prey on the first-time author. They ring around, and I think Victoria Strauss is brilliant. She's got a site called Authors Beware, and I think all authors should visit that site.
Interesting. Authors Beware is the website?
Authors Beware at Victoria Strauss, and there's lots of information there. And Victoria's dedicated a site to support authors. You can join all the clubs, you can join everything. And, it's no point in advertising your book to authors, because authors write books. A lot of them don't read them.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Authors write books because they've got something they want to say, and people read them because they want something to learn. They want to read something they can learn and read about, So it's like, well, authors, I see a lot of them are lost, and some are lucky to make a few $100s a year. And it's time consuming. And I think, and books are the arts, they're music, they're film, they're everything that we live with from day to day. And where would we be without the old writers? I come from, England. We've got Emily Bronte up there. You've got Hemingway.
Yes.
In the States. What do we do without, great authors and people educating us about life? We need books. We need those things, and I think authors need to be respected, and they need to be able to earn a decent living from what they do. And there needs to be honesty within the sector. And what I get at Word FP is honesty. Is like, this is going to make it. This is what you need to do. It's coaching. It's a partnership.
Irene Chain-Kalinowski, our guest on the program today. The website she's talking about is Word First Publishing. The website itself is wordfp.com. Go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and link on directly. Irene's books are available, and very important reading on women taking charge of their lives. Some really dramatic stories in there. The books are available, again, you'll find them at wordfp.com. Irene, they can also find you on Facebook too, I understand?
Yeah, I've got a couple of books on Facebook. I've got Let It Be and My Body, My Baby on Facebook. That was another venture into the publishing world. They were to set up websites. Well, the websites they set up, I had scams come through. I had viruses come to my computer.
Oh, wow.
They weren't set up very well at all. Professionally. So I had a huge letdown with that too. So Word FP have taken it all into hand. I've got a beautiful site up there, and I can't thank them enough for what they did. And actually, they've actually offered me a job.
See, if you do it so well, they're going to try to get you to come work for them. That's wordfp.com. Irene Chain-Kalinowski, our guest on the program. I had one author once who said when he went to one of these companies, They basically took his credit card number, and he found out they were debiting his account as they were performing services. Many times he wasn't aware that they were debiting his account when they provided services. Does that sound accurate?
That's accurate. Actually, I have actually got an actual visual recording, because when I had my dispute with this last book publishing company, I said, well, hey, you've been taking payments out, and why have you billed me with this? And I've actually had no invoices. I've just had like receipts for payments. And they wouldn't give me an answer except for, oh, but this is the service that we do. And when they actually took the money out, they actually took the money out for the book fair too, and because you're busy, you don't have time to look, and then it's late. Now they want you to use credit cards, and the reason they want you to use credit cards is because it's very difficult to lodge a complaint. I'm in New Zealand, so I have trouble trying to get money back through my visa company because It's done through America. They also suggest if you have a dispute to get a lawyer. Well, the Better Business Bureau doesn't want to know you if you've got a lawyer.
Interesting.
And then, then you can go to the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and it's not so easy. So I've actually got my lawyer sending my whole case through to the Federal Bureau of Investigations. So it's very complex once you've parted with that money. So, the wonderful thing at Word FP is that, you pay as you go. So, as the work's done, you do progress payments, which makes sense. Builders take progress payments. These companies should be taking progress payments.
Yes. Yes.
And not taking out bulk sums like $45,000, $50,000, I just couldn't believe it. So when I put Bo and Peep together, and I've got these geriatric people, I've got Vanda, she's from the German underground. And
I've seen a draft of that, and I'm looking forward to having you back to talk about that, because you do an excellent job protecting yourself but telling the real life experiences at the same time.
Well, I think I've got this gift. I didn't realize I could write until I started writing, and then the words just flow because I've actually lived through the life. I've been there, and I think life as a midwife takes you into the homes of people. It takes you into the hearts of life, and you see everything, and I've been through so much in my life and done so many travels that it's so easy to, even the political aspects of we've got issues with housing, and they're selling the houses off, and people can't get affordable renting, and then you get that with what comes with the affordable renting is that people don't have respect for homes. They can't even paint a bedroom for a baby girl because there's limitations. So there's a huge impact there. So I actually wrote a story, Let Me Take You by the Hand, and put a bit of magic into it. And I think that's just always been there. And I didn't realize it was there until 2 years ago when I wrote the first non-midwifery book, Let It Be. And when I put the Three Blind Mice together, I've actually taken a midwifery journey and the realities, and it takes you through Ohio. And I've got three magical mice from the Baduga temple in India, and they're on a mission with three midwives to save childbirth. And you'll see the dolphins birth, and and the true stories of the debates in childbirth and how midwives don't have the free hand to be midwives. So it's a good story, and I've written draft screenplays with Susan for these books. So I'm hoping that somebody out there is going to get this message out to make a difference around the globe.
Well, yeah, when I was looking at the wordfp.com website, they work on screenplays as well. If someone is listening and they're going, I really want to do this book. I've talked to some companies. I'm really not comfortable to make the plunge. Realistically, to get real services, not pay for services and have them debited and you're really getting nothing back in return, how much money should you set aside for this venture to publish a book? I mean, is it something where you really need tens of thousands of dollars?
Well, you need a good, if you're really serious about being an author, like I say, the editing, you're talking about $3,500, $3,000 for a good editing of your book.
Okay.
With people, because it's time consuming. It takes 4 or 5 times to read through the book, and putting the little digits in and the corrections, and then you've got experts helping you get a really good product out there. You have to pay for that. It's like you've got to pay to have a good house built.
Yes. Yes.
You're not going to get it done for nothing. and you need experts to help you get the marketing out there. I mean, I do a lot. I do a lot of like LinkedIn, Facebook. I get out there. Like I say, I was in New York. I was out on the streets videoing and asking people, and giving some of the books out. There's only so much you can do with your time, so you need people, the experts there with that. And what I found at Word FP, they're honest. If it's not going to make it, she'll say, I don't think this is a good idea.
I'm sure there are companies out there who have never said to an author, this really isn't up to standards. Nobody is going to buy this book.
Well, it's about money, you see. There's big money. It's like, I think I worked out...
You think there'd be some honesty that would come into play at some point, but
Yeah.
I guess not necessarily.
No. You see, there's big money making in the marketing business, in the book business, and it's not the authors that make the money. It's huge. If you think, I think I put it all out in Bo Peep, something like $700 million or something for 38 books or 40 books. I think I worked it out. I'm very good at accounts, so especially having got the lawyers onto these other publishing companies, I've had to manage accounts. Like, take charge.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of money in that, and authors don't see that. And I think it's time to bring honesty into the publishing world, and to take the stigma away. I mean, sometimes you go around and you've got the traditional publish and you've got the self-employed, and it's like, don't go there because we're traditional and you're self-employed, you're self-published.
Yes.
And I'm saying, well, hang on a minute. It doesn't matter what route a good author takes, she needs support. And
Yes.
those authors need to be paid for making that difference out there, and they need to get their books out there to the right audiences. So I would say to all authors, beware, go to Victoria Strauss's website. And once again, I've had honesty the whole way through with Word FP. And when I asked Susan to actually co-author some of my books, I've got her expertise. So there's even parts of my book she's made beautiful amendments with. So when people read the book, it's like it's there. It's you don't want to put it down. I've been storytelling to some of the older communities. I've sent the books out, even to the guy who manages the local bar. Read that. It's like, actually, I gave him the Three Blind Mice to read. He says, wow, that was fantastic. And I said, if you guys enjoy them, anybody's going to enjoy them.
Well, then, yes, and all the information on Irene's books and a couple she's written with Susan available at wordfp.com, and you can link onto that by going to our website. If you can't remember that, it's very simple, wordfp.com. A couple minutes left in the program. What are some of the key things that people should watch for when they're looking for a company to work with them? Some of the red flags, so we know, whoops, we need to really at least be aware after we enter into this relationship.
I think that you've got to interview them and not them interview you.
Interesting.
It's like midwifery. It's a partnership. Yeah, there's two, and women, I teach women to take charge. They've got to be in charge of their childbirth experience, and authors need to stay in charge of their books. They need to have the last word. Not someone take the book over and say, hey, I'm just going, we're going to take over your books. And that's what happened to me, is that I had no say. They took over their books. They did what they wanted to do with them. And I had no say, and I let them do it because I had no idea. And that was the biggest mistake I ever made.
Well, and part of the reason that Irene is with us on the program is she had no idea. She wants to give you an idea so you know what to look for when you're in that situation. She has written excellent books. We'll have Irene back to talk about her role as midwife and how much progress has been made over the last couple of years when we first had Irene on the program. All of the information on her books available at wordfp.com. That's the publishing company that she's working with. And we'll have her back in the program. Irene, as always, a pleasure. A really important message to get out there. And sometimes people will go through and become victims and they don't want to tell anybody about it. You want to tell everybody so they don't go through what you're going through with basically having attorneys on a retainer so you can try to get something out of this.
Yeah, well, I've seen that. I've been to the Authors Society and I've seen authors nearly cry. They write a really good book. I'm in a multicultural society and, I've been taken. I've spent all my savings on my book and I don't want to go there. I says, but you should be telling people about it. If you don't share stories, nobody learns, nobody moves forward, nobody changes things. I think that's the thing. I think we tend to not be an open society, and if we start opening out a bit more, and just exactly the way I've put the books, I've opened out. It's about families opening up to one another, being open with kids. Kids are not silly. If you're open, they grow up with life's experiences, and then I think a lot of this would not happen if we were more open.
Now, Authors Beware, is that Victoria's website?
Yeah, Victoria Strauss. If you can just tap into Authors Beware, Writers Beware. Writers Beware, it's called.
Okay, because I'm sure we will have some comment on that. All the information you'll find on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Once again, information on Irene's website, or books available at wordfp.com. Irene, great to have you back with us on the program. We will have you back much more to talk about. Thank you for being with us, because you had to give them like the middle of the night to correspond and to pull this off, because you're in New Zealand, coming to us via Skype. So thank you for making the effort. Always appreciate it, and look forward to having you back on the program.
Thank you, Rick. I'm sure we've got many, many conversations in the future, and I'm sure we can make a whole world of a difference for a lot of people out there. Thank you.
Looking forward to doing what we can. You're listening to This Week in America. Our website, thisweekinamerica.us.